tell me when you first began to play your music?
Well, I've been playing and trying to play ever since I was quite a small boy.
When was that?
Well, that was, I was possibly 10 years of age, and I was born in 1895. Oh, I was about 15 when I took off at the first old medicine show come through, and, you know, I was always crazy about the show business, and every show had come through, I'd get me up a bunch of boys and put me on the show. If it was a circus, I'd perform, and if it was music, I'd do the same, and I was always crazy about the show business. And an old gentleman come through with a medicine show and wanted to hire me, and I started in with him, and of course he taught me a lot of things that I didn't know, and from there went on, you know.
Well, now, when did they start making records of this kind of music?
Well, that was summers in the 20s, I'd say. Best I could remember.
That's when you started making records in the 20s?
That's right. Soon after Al Hopkins and the boys called themselves hillbillies. I guess that started the name of hillbilly music.
Yeah.
Was Al Hopkins and his brothers. They was on their way to New York, and their father lived in Washington while they was still presiding in North Carolina, in the western part of North Carolina. So they stopped over to stay all night with their father, and he was quite a good, big man in Washington. He was a doctor, and Al told him they was going to New York to make records. And he said, now what can you hillbillies do in New York? After they went on to New York, left Washington, went on to New York, they did do some records for the Columbia, I think it was. Or anyhow, Mr. Frank Walker, I think, was the recording manager. And they taken the name Hillbillies, and they called themselves Al Hopkins and his Hillbillies.
Well, Clarence, when they were making these records in New York, and when you were making records there, how much did these people that were making the records know about this kind of music?
How much did they know about it?
That's right.
Not anything.
Well, how'd they know what to record?
Well, they was just looking for something and hoping they'd find it. And they, in other words, they wasn't musicians, and they didn't have the talent, and they didn't have the feeling. And they wouldn't know whether you was in tune or whether you was out of tune.
Well, when you told Frank Walker you'd play him a lassie-making tune, what was the tune you played?
I very well remember that. He set his glasses down on his nose, and he says, I want to hear one of them. I never heard a lassie-making tune. Well, I says, give me the banjo. They handed me the banjo, some of them did, and I tuned it up in this minor key, you see?
Well, what do you call that key?
Lassie-making tune, sawmill key.
Sawmill key.
Sawmill key. And this is what I played for him.